after the break. I still don't think she's dominating, but she's a different player than she was in the first half of the season.
Bro, there's no way. There's no way that you know what Caitlin Clark is averaging post All-Star break, and you still don't think that she's dominating. To say that someone in the W is averaging 24-9 and that's not dominating, bro, we're losing the plot at that.
Sheryl Swoopes has been talking nonstop, and it seems Caitlin Clark is living rent-free in her mind. Now she's diving into full-on conspiracy mode, throwing around wild rumors about locker room drama in Indiana. According to her, players are avoiding the Fever because of some mysterious behind-the-scenes issues.
So last year, during the Gilbert Arenas podcast, Sheryl Swoopes famously was trying to stir the pot. All right, or as I like to call it or refer to it as, start some shit. That's what she was trying to do.
But here's the thing, no one's buying it. Indiana Fever players clapped back in real time, shutting down her nonsense on the spot. The league isn't fooled, and fans? They are tearing Swoopes apart. So, what's the deal with Sheryl Swoopes' obsession with Caitlin Clark? Is she just salty that everyone, and their grandma, wants to play alongside Caitlin instead of whoever she thinks is worthy? Let's break it down. Swoopes is out here on her podcast and social media, trying to sell this narrative that Indiana's locker room is a total mess. She's claiming there's some big internal drama that's scaring players away from the team.
Sean McCann is correct, bro. There's just no way that someone could come in and lead the league and a statistical category and you not walk away from the season being dominant. Any discussion, point blank, period. We are walking away from this season with Caitlin Clark not just being one of the best passers in the league, but also one of the best scorers in the league as well in her rookie season.
So if her stats, when we're saying she won't do this in the W, she averaged 31.6, 7.4 rebounds, 9 assists, right? Did anyone expect her to do that in WNBA?
Those three? No.
Right? So she didn't do that.
No.
Now, if we say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But
That's crazy.
5.6
Those are hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
Yeah, it's only not dominating because she's a rookie.
I think a lot of people, especially new people, but somehow even ex-WNBA players, are speaking about a lot of this shit through the lens of an NBA conversation. Anyone, period, in WNBA history who is giving you 19-5-5 will be doing something that we've never seen before. So there's no way that you can sit here and confidently say, "Oh man, 19-5-5, those are crazy. Those are really good numbers." No, those are historic numbers.
Now, let's think for a second. What issues could she possibly be talking about? From where we're standing, Caitlin Clark has done nothing but elevate the Fever. The team went from being an afterthought to one of the most watched squads in the WNBA. Fever games are selling out at record rates, merchandise is flying off the shelves, and viewership numbers are through the roof. If there's any locker room issue, it's probably that some players aren't used to this level of attention. But does that mean players don't want to join Indiana? Absolutely not.
Is in dominating form. Right? When we're saying dominating, when you go through history and say, well, Candace Parker dominated her rookie year.
Yeah.
Cap.
You don't feel that.
She was great her rookie year. She was better than expected her rookie year. But if you take her rookie year compared to her dominating year, is it?
First and foremost, just because it's not your best year doesn't mean that it wasn't a dominant year. That makes no sense.
As Swoopes started spreading this nonsense, the Indiana Fever clapped back hard. Key players like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell stepped up to set the record straight. Aaliyah Boston made it clear they love playing together, the team is growing, and they are all excited about the direction they are headed. Kelsey Mitchell didn't hold back either, pointing out that people outside the locker room have no clue what they are talking about and that the team supports each other 100%. What's the translation? Sheryl Swoopes is full of
standpoint that her rookie season might have actually been her best year. In Candace Parker's rookie season, where she not only won Rookie of the Year, but also MVP, she averaged 18.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks, and shot 52% from the field. That is the highest field goal percentage she's ever had in her career. It is the 4th most points she's ever averaged in her career, and she also recorded 2.3 blocks in her rookie season, which is tied for the most in her career. You could genuinely argue that her rookie season was her best.
Here's the real kicker. Players around the league are eager to join the Fever. I mean, don't you think both veterans and rising stars want to play alongside Caitlin Clark, the most electrifying young talent in basketball? Free agents are watching those numbers, seeing Indiana's surge in popularity, and thinking, yeah, I want in. Swoopes is pushing a false narrative, and Indiana Fever players just exposed her for it. At this point, it's obvious. Sheryl Swoopes has a personal issue with Caitlin Clark and is doing everything she can to discredit her. But why? Because Clark is out here breaking records, dominating headlines, and securing massive endorsement deals. That kind of shine doesn't sit well with some WNBA veterans, especially those who had to fight for scraps during their time. There's a clear divide in how certain WNBA figures talk about Caitlin Clark. Instead of celebrating her success, they try to paint her as a problem. But here's the reality. Caitlin Clark isn't the problem. She's the best thing to happen to the WNBA in years. The league is shifting, and more players want to team up with Caitlin than with some of the so-called established stars. For someone like Swoopes, who has her own favorites, that probably stings. Let's be real. Sheryl Swoopes can say whatever she wants, but the fans aren't dumb. They see through it, and they are dragging her for it. This obsession with Caitlin Clark, it's embarrassing. Why do some WNBA legends seem to hate on Caitlin so much? She's literally making the league better. It's funny how Indiana Fever players have to come out and shut down lies every time someone tries to stir the pot. The internet is roasting Swoopes for her weak attempts to tear down Caitlin Clark because, at the end of the day, no one's buying it. The Indiana Fever is thriving. Caitlin Clark is breaking barriers. And Swoopes. She's just out here running her mouth. Sheryl Swoopes needs to let it go. The rumors? Debunked. The so-called locker room issues? Fabricated. The idea
Indiana Fever and their locker room situation, as she came on and was claiming that it was a sort of toxic environment, and I guess Caitlin Clark fans were making it hard on other players, and they were really struggling. Maybe some people wanted out of there. She was heavily referring to Kelsey Mitchell, and something happened on the way to Sheryl Swoopes being right. All right, I don't know if you noticed this, but something happened yesterday, and that is Kelsey Mitchell re-signed with the Indiana Fever. Well, wait a minute. No, that's not what Sheryl Swoopes said was going to happen. I mean, she was going to get out of a toxic situation, right? Maybe.
Caitlin Clark is the future of the WNBA, and people like Sheryl Swoopes just can't handle it. No matter how many false narratives she tries to push, the truth stays the same. Caitlin Clark is here to stay. In fact, more players want to play with her, not less. Sorry, Sheryl, but your smear campaign flopped. Better luck next time. Swoopes ran her mouth, and reality just dunked on her. She thought she could scare players away from the Indiana Fever with baseless locker room gossip, spinning stories about a toxic environment and claiming players didn't want to join. But guess what? The best free agents in the WNBA just proved her embarrassingly wrong. Not only are players joining the Fever, they are lining up for the opportunity. They are not signing on for some long-term rebuild. They are here because they smell a championship, and they are ready to win now. As for Caitlin Clark, yeah, she's the reason why. For months, Clark's critics clung to one desperate hope, that Kelsey Mitchell would leave, proving Clark was some kind of locker room problem. They thought Indiana's top returning player would walk away. Instead, Kelsey Mitchell just re-signed with the Fever, and she got the hero's welcome.
Swoopes implied that the Fever locker room was in disarray, and everybody wanted out. So weird. Let's hear again.
What's up, everybody? Kelsey Mitchell here, and I'm a Fever girl again. So to my fans, to the basketball world, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be back. And he's been good to me, and hopefully I can pour in and give the same. So here's to being a Fever girl.
Imagine how the haters feel right now. They spent months pushing the narrative that Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark weren't a good fit, that there was some imaginary tension between them, and that Mitchell was going to bail. Well, guess what? Kelsey Mitchell is back, fully locked in, ready to run with Caitlin Clark, and determined to take this team to the top. Mitchell's decision sends a crystal clear message. The Indiana Fever isn't a team players want to leave.
That other Fever players are like, this ain't where I want to be. Man, if you don't literally want to play with what is the biggest phenom to ever walk into your league, if you don't want to be a part of that, Ooh, I mean, look, the players playing other places, players around the league, they can't stand Caitlin. You can tell. They can't stand her. I mean, they tried to off with her head last year during actual games. They tried to literally guillotine her on the court. Man, if you don't have the wherewithal to realize, number one, she's your cash cow coming in. I mean, I'm sorry, but if she went tumbling from a foul and I'm another player on another team, I'm literally leaping across the floor to let Caitlin Clark land on, literally, I'm catching her. Let's make sure group effort to make sure she doesn't hit the floor. We ain't losing our money. Nah, we're not losing that.
Natasha Howard saw what was happening in Indiana, and she knew exactly what it meant, a golden opportunity for easy points. She watched Caitlin Clark dropping dimes, threading perfect passes through defenders, only for Fever players to miss easy layups. Possession after possession, Clark created wide-open looks that went to waste. Natasha Howard is here to make sure that never happens again.
The signing of Natasha Howard represents a massive step forward for the Indiana Fever and their quest for a championship. In Howard, the Fever gain a 3-time WNBA champion, a Defensive Player of the Year, an All-Star, and a veteran with more than 300 games.
She's a veteran who knows how to run the floor, finish at the rim, and dominate in the paint. Now, with a point guard like Caitlin Clark leading the charge, her job just got 10 times easier. This isn't about waiting for Indiana to develop or preaching patience. Natasha Howard came to win. And if there was any lingering doubt that the Indiana Fever is the destination in the WNBA, that doubt vanished the moment DeWanna Borner, Sophie Cunningham, and Sydney Colson signed on. DeWanna Borner is one of the most battle-tested veterans in the league. She's seen it all, played against the best, and she's not signing up for a sinking.
DeWanna Borner, fake, readjusts Indy.
Sophie Cunningham is a fearless shooter and a relentless competitor. She thrives under pressure, never backing down from big moments. She's not in Indiana for development. She's here to chase a ring.
Now, with 10 points off the bench, 4 or 5 from the floor, stolen away, and you just feel the energy coming from